Hi, I'm Marcos Loevanos, 8-time Olympic gold medalist in the sport of flirting.
And I'm Erin Rosen, always watching Bridesmaids, which is why I'm never a bride.
And this is
Just the Tip, a podcast about love,
sex,
dating,
and masturbating.
We're your hosts.
And today we're going to be spending the next half hour talking about romance.
What's that?
I know, it's been so long for me I had to look it up. Apparently it's that thing where someone you like does something nice for you because they like you.
Oh, yes, of course. I know what that is because I've seen it in movies, yes. Also, later in the program, we'll be gabbing with Jessie Rosen, who runs the fantastic blog 20 Nothings and has a monthly show in LA called Sunday Night Sex Talks, and her Hollywood exec beau, Luchow.
Very excited to hear about their mad about you-like shenanigans.
Since living vicariously through fictional characters is one of your areas of expertise, tell us, Marcos, what romantic comedy scene do you like the most and would want to live out?
Ironically, Erin, it's not necessarily a romantic scene in a romantic comedy, but it's the scene at the end of My Best Friend's Wedding when Rupert Everett shows up unannounced to surprise Julia Roberts at the wedding of her said best friend.
So you are Rupert or Julia?
I'm Julia. I'm Julia, and Rupert is coming into my life, surprising me with a oversized Zach Morris type 90s phone attached to his head.
Gotta love those.
Talking to me and telling me about how radiant I look. And,
so just to clarify, your idea of romance is watching the man you love dance with another woman while your best friend comes and consoles you.
Well, ideally it would be Rupert would be my love interest, and that would be the ideal.
So in your version of My Best Friend's Wedding, you're both gay men.
Yes, that is.
Not that I doubt. Version. I mean, Julia Roberts is also probably a gay man.
Pretty much.
In real life,
I mean, pretty much she's pretty much. So that is mine.
Okay.
How about you? What's yours? Tell me about your favorite scene in a romantic comedy.
Well, I love rom-coms. That's first and foremost. Love them.
As do I.
I guess one of my favorite romantic comedies is Bridget Jones's Diary.
A classic.
A tale about a portly lady who has two men fighting over her.
I mean, who among us can't relate? I mean, am I right?
Right in this room, I see two people. So my favorite part of that movie is the end scene, which is when Bridget Jones is about to have a sexual encounter with Colin Firth for the first time. They've just admitted to each other that they love each other, and she goes to put on some fancy leopard print panties, and Colin Firth accidentally stumbles upon her diary where she's written horrible, nasty things about him. So promptly he leaves, and she comes out in her skivvies.
And her weird New Balances.
And her weird New Balance sneakers
Yes.
that she puts on, thank God, before running out and chasing him into the snow. And then she finds him, and he's bought her a new diary to start over.
That's adorable.
And he wraps her up in his coat, and they make out. I'd like to be... Well, not that I'd like to be in the snow naked, but I would like Colin Firth to wrap me up in his jacket.
I think you should write him a fan letter, and you should, as a Make-A-Wish Foundation person, and say, "Dear Colin, I have a month to live. Please, can we reenact the final scene of Bridget Jones's Diary?"
Yes. I wonder what disease I would say I have. We'll figure that out later, I guess.
We'll figure that out,
yeah.
On that note, Erin, I'm curious. What was the most romantic thing you've ever done for someone else, or have had someone else do for you? What's been your rom-com moment in life?
You know, the thing I've learned is that as much as I love rom-coms, those huge moments never really happen, right?
It's true.
I always fantasize about them. Like, as soon as I date someone or start dating them, I'm like, oh, he's going to do this for me. And I always have this fantasy of, like, a live band coming out, like, before my window and waking me up with, I don't know why, but the song Pretty Woman.
I love that.
I don't know why. That's how my fantasy works.
I love that, though.
But that movie's, like, about a hooker, right? But that song from that movie is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We should ask Jessie and Rob if that's what couples do, because I feel
I
don't
have
know.
live bands sing for you?
I don't know.
But that moment is yet to happen for me, but... so what I've taken now is, like, the smaller moments, like someone opening a door for me. Like, if anyone opens a door for me, it's romantic all of a sudden. But recently, I started dating someone, and they did something that I thought was romantic.
What did he do?
So, he knew that I didn't know how to play chess, and it's actually on my bucket list, and yes, I have a bucket list to learn how to play chess, because, you know, I know that I'll end up in Miami when I'm in my 90s.
Wanting to play chess with an old Puerto Rican man.
I mean, again, who among us?
Who among us doesn't want that? True.
So he invited me over to his house where he has a nice little chessboard, and I was kind of prepared for a whatever evening, but when I showed up, there was a beautiful cheese and meat plate, which, as you well know,
is the way to your heart. I mean, who...
absolutely, again, who among us won't fall for a cheese?
I know any salty meats are my...
Cured meats.
Are my weak spot.
But he had, like, prepared this little night where it was, you know, like, food and wine and, like, taking the time to teach me something, which is not easy, trust me. I am not an easy person to teach. I get confused, I get distracted, I eat a lot of cheese. So I thought that was really sweet.
That is adorable. Did you win? Did you...
Of course I didn't win. He won, and we'll probably continue to win, but we'll see.
Fun.
Yeah,
it'll be... It sounds like it could have potentially been like a 9.5 weeks type thing with chess pieces. You're
with
just
chess pieces.
rubbing them all over your body and just seductively.
I mean, that could still happen, really, honestly. Yeah. What about you? Have you ever done something romantic for someone? Or...
The most romantic thing I've ever done for someone was actually for a platonic friend, so I'm not going to use that excuse.
I see a theme here.
Yeah,
my best friend's wedding, my best friend.
It's true. I'm not going to use that story. I actually had something pretty romantic happen to myself, which is not a huge, crazy, big gesture thing. But
apparently that never happens.
Apparently that never happens. I feel like we should ask when Jessie and Rob come on. We should ask them if they've ever done that, because I feel like it's not a real thing.
No, but I love that Hollywood makes it a real thing,
and I want it to be a real thing.
I want it so badly,
and I feel like I would do a big thing if I were in a big serious relationship. But but I don't know.
Would you? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
But anyways, go on. What happened to you?
So what happened to me was that this was my last birthday in October. I'm not a huge fan of my birthday. I'm very, like, macabre about it. It just reminds me of death, and it makes me feel like I haven't done enough, and,
You're a little closer to the grave.
Yes, exactly. Basically. And it's,
haven't slept with Johnny Depp yet.
Getting older, I'm like gay 26, which is like straight man 40. So, straight woman 40, so it's like, it's
straight
not...
Straight woman 40 is a scary age.
It is a scary age. I mean, it's like I have to start living my life.
So that's where you are now.
And that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I have to start living my life like Terry Hatcher. Like I have to start cleansing and getting Restylane and like Botox and stuff, So, so basically, this birthday came around and I wasn't really feeling it. And on the day, at the time I was talking to my ex-boyfriend. We were potentially going to have a reconciliation, and he was living in New York at the time, but it was planning on moving to LA very soon after. So we were talking, and it looked like it potentially could have been a real possible thing. So, but the thing about him is that he's awful about birthdays and he's awful about thinking about anything other than himself. Oh, so that
sounds great.
Yeah, perfect, a great guy. So, so I wasn't necessarily expecting him to remember, but I woke up that day, wasn't really feeling that well to begin with, and then I got an email from my landlord saying that the room in my apartment wasn't a real room, and that the fire department was going to come and inspect it, and if they didn't deem it a real, actual room, I was potentially going to have to move out. And
it's like a grown-up 16 candles.
Yes,
everyone forgets.
It was awful. Yeah. I went to work, and nobody remembered. And then when they did remember, they had to like run out and get me this cake that wasn't really the cake I wanted. So it was kind of
You are Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, okay. So that was a little disappointing. And then we ended up staying at work late, and I was supposed to go to dinner with some friends, and I couldn't make it because I had to work late.
Oh
so.
My God.
It was just this whole, like, messy, crazy thing, and so, I didn't get home till, like, 11 o'clock, and at the time I was texting with my ex all day, and he hadn't mentioned my birthday once, so I was like,
my God.
So I had this really shitty day, and I was just like, I'd had this shitty day. I didn't like my birthday to begin with, but, on top of that, I had this super shitty day, and, so I'm like, I was driving home, and I was just, like, really upset, and and thinking, that on top of everything, my ex didn't even say, like, happy birthday to me at all. So I was like super depressed, and I walk into my apartment, and on the kitchen table there's like a huge thing of flowers, and on the card it says, happy birthday, love, my ex's name. And so it actually turned out to be that, and then of course, my heart swelled and the music came up, and and the end credits started to roll. So it was good. It actually
That's really
ended up
sweet.
Yeah, and it was a super small gesture, but at the time it was, the circumstances made it to be this.
I do think sometimes those smaller things can really add up and be lovely.
I think you're right.
They?
I think it's true.
Speaking of loveliness, I think it's time to bring on our guest.
I think you're right. I think that sounds great.
They're an adorable couple who can be found in various brunch locales around West Hollywood, and you can read about their experiences moving in together on the blog 20nothings.blogspot.com.
Please welcome Jessie Rosen and Rob Luchow.
Jessie! So right now we've been liquoring Jessie and Rob up with
half of Jessie and Rob.
Jessie and Rob. Rob is drinking a nice stein of seltzer.
Yep.
And Jessie
really
is
promoting my Jewish Hollywood stereotype.
I mean, right? I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Now, what is this drink, Marcos?
Jessie's
You made this.
drinking a pink fizzy, which is basically rosé champagne mixed with lemonade. And
Does
And
it
then I
make
feel
you
like
feel
there's
romantic?
a pomegranate. It makes
there
you
is.
feel romantic.
There's pomegranate in it as
And
well.
cool.
So how did the two of you meet?
You want to say?
Well, it's a good story. Do you want to?
Yeah, it's a good story. We met because, I write a blog, and unbeknownst to me, a girl that I went to college with and Robbie went to high school with, her name is Kalalia, we should promote her and her matchmaking ways, wrote me really completely unsolicited Facebook message. Unbeknownst to me, she had been following the blog for a long time. And in the blog, I was writing about traveling to LA a lot. And at the time, I was considering moving to LA, but I couldn't say that in the blog because I worked at a job in New York. So it was kind of this, discreet traveling to LA. LA is interesting. I like LA because I was thinking of moving there. So she sends me this unsolicited Facebook message that says, essentially, I read that you're traveling to LA a lot. If you ever want to meet a guy there, I know someone who I actually think you might like. Don't know if you're interested, don't know if you're single, don't know anything.
That's actually what it was, because I've seen the Facebook.
Yeah, we saved it.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
As a PDF.
Yeah.
So anyway, she sends me this message, and, I was game for anything. But what she didn't know is that I was really planning to move here. So I had planned a trip, I feel like 2 or 3 weeks from when she sent the message. So I said, A, definitely interested in meeting your friend. B, I'm actually going to LA in 2 weeks, so, set it up. Lo and behold, so was she, the very same weekend. So we met in this
And she was going to come, she didn't stay with me, she has another friend, but every time she's come out, she always would hang out with me, and then she was like, oh, so let's get together a whole bunch of my friends at BC, including Jessie.
Did you know that she was trying to set you up, Rob?
I knew there was, she said there's a girl who, I got a very you got the hard pitch.
a whole thing.
And I got the soft pitch.
He's this, you're really going to like it, blah, blah, blah. And so I was prepared. I felt like she had told him the same thing. Because really, she knew him longer. So when I arrived at the bar, and there was a whole group of friends, and he was being how he was being, which was nice, I thought, oh, this guy knows that I'm the girl. This guy's doing this on purpose.
I've joked that I think she gave me the very guy version, which was just cute chick, a lot of fun, go meet her and say hello.
Yeah.
And you got the girl version, here's everything about him that you wouldn't want to ask, so you got all this information.
Right.
And
so
then
when we met, I was like, this guy's really...
We met at the dark room.
Yeah.
And
So wait, you thought he was putting on an act, a cool,
Not
a
an
nice
act,
guy,
I thought he was really being the best he could be, which
turns out that's all the time.
That's how he really is.
So then I thought, okay, this guy's putting on a show, and that's so nice. His friend is here. He's doing that, So, but then the night ended. We shared a kiss.
We did.
A romantic time. There was clearly a connection.
Right.
And I was there for a week, trying out the LA thing, trying to see if I could get a job, and he asked me on a formal date later that week. So then I was like, okay, this guy's at least for more real.
We did a real date, and that's how we first met.
Nice. And how long ago was that? How long have you been together?
Well, how long?
Always a great question.
It depends on who you ask, because I like to say we've been together as long as I confirmed that it was okay that we would be boyfriend and girlfriend.
I see how many words that is. It's so complicated.
But I think that that's like the official date. And Robbie thinks that we've been together for as long as the day we met.
Oh, okay.
And then
Sorry.
but I think we've agreed upon the
Right.
October was when we said the
Right.
official boyfriend and girlfriend.
So we met in late April. I didn't have a job in LA. We stayed in touch all summer long. And I remember distinctly, and I give this advice to younger sisters and friends of all ages, he called me on the phone a lot. Didn't text, didn't email. I don't even think we became Facebook friends for months after. And so he would actually call me up on the phone and talk to me.
Which never happened.
Yeah.
The only time that we would BBM was when you were on the bus. Because
I was commuting.
And
Oh,
so
it was
that was
terrible.
I would knew, all right, so she'll get on the bus and chances are we're
Yeah.
going to have a conversation because
Yeah.
you were being polite to the, nice people traveling the bus in New Jersey.
Always. Got to be.
And then, and that was, but other than that, I always wanted to call and check in. And
Yeah.
that summer was great because I'm also from the East Coast to podcasters out there.
The audience.
And so I was going home for 4th of July, and then I always do a summer reunion with some high school friends, so that happened to be the same weekend of your birthday, so I actually...
So we saw each other pretty much every month, once a month.
At least a couple times,
until I moved.
Okay.
And then I finally got a job and moved in September, and then we kind of dated like you would if you just met for like about a month and a half.
About a month, actually. 1 month exactly.
I just found it elongated. It felt fast,
why?
you guys. It just felt fast. It felt fast.
It's exactly 1 month.
It's fine.
So it's been like 2 years?
Almost 2 years.
Almost
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's amazing.
And you
Well,
guys
thank you.
live together now.
Now we do.
as of April.
There's actually an official date for that, though. You can only...
Okay.
There's only
move in
one
once.
day where I
Right.
wasn't
Where you
really
signed
married
the
than I was.
lease and
yeah,
you
yeah.
actually...
I love that you're all about the facts, Rob. You're all
Well,
about
sometimes you gotta be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most
I
guys
like
don't
to
remember
celebrate.
anything, right? Like, they won't remember an anniversary or birthdays or whatever.
No,
but
but
this
you're
is
like-
not the case.
You're
I'm
about
not- yeah.
celebrating things, and like, I think you're about ceremony too. Like, it's nice, you think, and I agree now, that it's like really nice to mark those things and celebrate them.
I like doing things.
I was like a jaded New Yorker, I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but I think that was part of what was going on for me.
Well, this is great because we were talking about like big romantic gestures if they actually exist. Like, what is the most romantic thing that you think? Actually, maybe
You
this
know
is a
what
better
it is.
question for Jesse, but like, what's the most?
Well,
romantic
actually, let's
thing?
test it. You ask
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Please
And
don't
then
say you know what it is. That's only setting me up for trouble.
You see if you can think of the most romantic
Right.
thing you ever did, and then I'll tell you
The
what
most
it is.
romantic thing I ever did for you?
Romantic
Yes.
gesture, and I assume you're saying
Oh.
like early on in the relationship too.
Oh, well,
so
that's... Yeah.
he
Big,
knows.
yeah. Big rom-com moment. What was that?
Yeah, don't you whisper it.
He
Don't
just
whisper
whispered.
it. You say it.
When you were still living in New York,
Yeah.
you had come out to Los Angeles, and I think it was the first time I was seeing you since the
We
first
met.
time we met.
That's right.
And you were staying at the Viceroy Hotel, and
On someone else's dime.
Yep.
Nice.
and I wanted to really let you know that I'm not just like trying,
Messing around.
to have a fun weekend. I really wanted to see if there was something here.
Yeah.
And so I arranged to have flowers waiting for you in the hotel room when
But like
you came in.
not just flowers.
Wow.
Like not just like farmer's market bundle of flowers. And I walk into the hotel room and I'm like, oh, this is a fancy hotel, fresh flowers in every room. And then I'm like, boop, 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 about my business. And then I see that there's a note in the flowers. And I was there on behalf of companies, so I thought, oh, how nice they're trying to get our business. So I opened the note, and it was from him, and it said, like, so great to have you back in LA. And it was the trip where I was interviewing for a job as well as, like, there for work. And it was a big weekend because there was the potential to get this job and move here. And so it said something sweet about that. And I was like, I was completely floored.
Aww.
Yeah.
So you agree this is
Yeah.
an
You
agreement on
remember.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
So after everything that you guys had been together dating-wise, what was it that made you want to live together? Like, was there like a moment where you were like, I think we should do this, like, let's just do it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think like what would be the exact. I don't think there's really anything more exciting other than I think what a lot of people experience is I was done with always having to pack a bag
Yeah.
with the person and like
Well, and we were at that point where our lives were like almost 100% together, but those things that we couldn't do because we didn't live together, like throwing dinner parties, all the kind of fun next step things, learn the things that you learn when you live together, we were kind of ready to do all of that. And so it became a conversation of kind of, we're waiting to do those things, so let's just, if this can work out, lifestyle-wise, let's take that step.
And not being entirely pragmatic at the moment, but yes, we also knew, like, this is what we wanted to be doing at the same time. It wasn't simply, like, financially motivated or trying
we
to
had a conversation.
account for laziness. It was
No.
I
was like, my jewelry has to be in one place. So that was what it was about.
Yeah, but there was really nothing more romantic than that, I don't think. It was just...
And I did remember I had this thing where I was like, I really want to be together for a year and a half before we move in together. See, that's where I was like on a timeline thing. I don't know why it was stupid.
I do that too. It's sort of like, maybe it's a girl thing, but you have to you have these little bars that you think you have to reach, and then as soon as...
Why do you think that? Like...
I think it's like something in my head, or at least for me, it's like I want to reach that goal before because I have some preconceived notion.
But it's just something.
It's not like it's a total preconceived notion.
Yeah.
And I also think, I hate to say it, but there's this sense of not pure pressure, but this social oh, you guys moved in after 9 months, or oh, you guys moved in at a year. That's quick, and none of that is fair or right to listen to. But it I don't know, it seeps in there, and you think. Though I didn't have any doubts when we did it, and no doubts since. But there is that kind of
And had you guys lived with people before, or was this like both your first times like moving in with someone?
I mean, just roommates.
What did you guys learn from each other? Learn from each other about each other while living together.
I thought she had a lot of clothes, and now I know she has a lot of clothes. There were like secret containers of clothes that somehow...
Now you can see them all. Yeah, I do get rid of a lot of clothes.
Well, yeah, I kind of forced you.
And shoes.
I made sure, and because I have a nice one bedroom, but by no means was it like, oh yeah, everything can just come in and you don't have to place.
Buy more! No, it wasn't like that.
My favorite... Well, we'll get into this, but in the topic of clothing, my favorite thing was...
This is embarrassing.
So, like any move, regardless of relationship, you kind of plan out, like, this weekend is packing, this weekend is moving.
Yeah.
So, one weekend was, all right, let's get rid of all this stuff in my apartment to make room for you. And so we had gone through, and so I'd really done a great job of, like...
You might think so yourself.
Well, where the story is going. Listen, don't act so cool and tough right now.
You're right. I stand.
So I cleaned up a lot of stuff, and I'd made a lot of space, and we definitely were like, all right, there's gonna be plenty of room for things. So now Jessie's clothes start coming in, and it's like they're coming in. I mean, it's coming in waves. And at one point, she unpacked something, and she's like, "Oh, you made room on this nice shelf for me. That's great. This is where my hats are gonna go." And I said, no. Like, I didn't clear clothing for a hat shelf. Like, hats get a basket under a bed because that's gonna come out like once or twice.
And he was like, why do you think that the hats should get their own shelf? And I was like, well, the belts have their own drawers. Why shouldn't the hats have their own shelf?
It's amazing.
Well, you learn how low I like the TV.
Yep.
That's like a thing.
Well,
I have like some general volume issues. I don't know why. I just am overly psychotically polite to neighbors we don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm very self-conscious about noise.
You are.
So that's like been a little bit of what we're learning. And I don't know. I mean, again, because we spent so much time together. Like you just leave your jeans on the floor.
Is there something you didn't know about Rob that you figured out once you moved in?
God, it's so...
No. I mean, you like to randomly watch, like, from the middle to the 75% through of a movie, like, in the morning.
Yeah.
Just for no...
Well, when you're waking up, you want
to... That's weird to me.
Yeah.
And, we both are very... And it's a very good thing, like, the same level of clean.
Yeah.
Thank
that was
God.
really important. Yeah.
And you knew about the toothbrush thing. I don't like to watch people brush their teeth. It's like a thing.
Wait, what?
I can't
this
see that.
May or may not be edited, so get ready with the...
I can't see that, or I get grossed out.
Okay.
Even when watching, like, on
the TV, I cover my eyes. Hate that.
Wow.
It's...
How funny.
And, but here's the thing I say, like, that is your one sort of, like, really weird quirk that is just, like, whatever, you don't like to watch people brush their teeth. Like, the one thing it does slow us down getting ready at night because, like, we can't just be like, hey, can I just come in and brush my teeth?
No.
Like, it has to really...
And I think it's also fair to say, speaking of slow, that I am slower in the bathroom than you probably recognized.
Oh yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
You know, because I think before you live together, when you're spending time in each other's places, you're being more polite.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just being more like on your best behavior.
You're not
going to
go into the bathroom and blow dry your hair.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
put on your makeup.
You have that conversation where it's like, we're doing this because we want a future with each other, and this is the next step in that. So like, I'm going to take longer in the bathroom because you're probably not going to break up with me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like there's that
you're completely
security.
together now, so you
There's
can't.
that security in the relationship that allows you to do things like, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But what about?
Oh,
Well,
I was just
no,
gonna say,
you-
are you guys like self-conscious about anything that you feel like you have to hide from each other, or at least at first, like oh, I have to hide this
I
from
don't
this
want to
person
talk about it
because they're gonna like, you know, because they might break up with me.
Well, interviews you can really start to poke and prod, but
you can edit this out if you want. We'll see. Go ahead, you can talk about it.
No, I want you to talk about it because it's only going to be funnier. If anyone wants a video version of the podcast, she is really red right now.
I was embarrassed about poops.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Poops. So I just didn't like it, and I just wouldn't want to do it, and I would just hold it. It was like a whole thing.
And then
So
like,
then what would happen?
well, then what would happen is
Belly aches.
she'd come back, she's like, oh, my stomach is killing me, and like, I didn't need to be housed to figure this out. I was just like, are you going to the bathroom? And you're like, well, not so much as not every day. I'm like, not every day. Like, how do you do that? Like,
And you need to talk about it. And actually, this is funny because it happened. We were at the SLS hotel. We had gone for the afternoon because it was hot in our house, and we live near the SLS hotel, so we'd gone to like have whatever. And he decides on the roof of the SLS hotel, for those viewers not here in Los Angeles, a very posh hotel, that we should talk about poops at the hotel. And he was like, let's talk about this because I don't think you know how to go. And I was like, I know how to
thought it was
go.
like you actually didn't know how to do it. Like,
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It was very awkward. But then after we talked about it, I felt better.
yeah, and now you've been able to go in more places than just the house. You've learned to like,
But you always ask me.
well, because I get this
How's your
reaction.
bowel? Did you have a BM today?
I just like to see your reaction, which is clearly very uncomfortable.
Mortified.
How long
So
did you keep
embarrassed.
that up? How long did you keep up that?
Like 4 months.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah, it was hard, you guys.
And on my end, no problem. If we could do this on a toilet, I would be just as comfortable.
Speaking of poop, how do you keep the romance alive when you're together 24/7 and have to do things like poop in front of each other? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you have like a date night?
I think, though, maybe you'll agree, is I think what's romantic changes when you live together after a while. Like, I find it really romantic when you do something sweet in the house. Or, like, you know, when we're just sitting on the couch and you go open a bottle of wine and pour wine, unexpected. Like, little things like that change because I think it's less about the grand gestures, more about, like, doing something every day to let the other person know, like, I love you, we live together, this house, is a place where we're going to have fun and, like, be romantic and love each other. And so I think I think it's little things like that I actually think you actually are so good at.
Thank you. You are as well, Bill.
Well,
Thank you.
I think you're better.
Well, thank you.
So I just
love
want to say
this.
that.
Yeah, one up.
Yeah, I just want to say that.
Well,
But
thank
like, and the other thing is, I think when you live together for a little while, when you're at this stage, you just kind of have to say it. Like, I need to go on a date, or like, I feel frumpy, or like, we should have sex, or like, it's just those kind of things that sometimes romance is fantastic and that happens, and then sometimes you just have to be like, hey, we're a couple, we should do this thing,
Yeah.
tonight or today or whatever. I think that communication is important.
I think it is true.
Yeah, I'm really good at that.
You're great. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, you're good at that.
What's the most, I'm curious, what is the most difficult part about living together, and what's like the most fun part about living together? Like, what's the best?
Because
and the
Marcos
worst?
and I have never lived with anyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think just when you want to be with the person,
Mm-hmm.
and just having them there all the time, and getting to do things like just cooking on a Thursday night. I think that's, I guess, what I've always looked for in wanting to be with someone is just knowing that they're just there, and you get to do all those little things that you want to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the most fun. I don't think anything like, it's not like all of a sudden, wow, we're throwing a house party every single night. Like, it's not that sort of fun. I think the fun is in just getting to share a lot of things.
Well, I think maybe you feel the same way, but remember when you were in college and it was like your best friends were right there, whether it was down the hall or whatever. And if you wanted to watch a movie, you did it with your best friends. And cook, you did it with your best friends. It's like that again. My answer for difficult is more like when you feel like your actions affect the other person. And so for me, just as a person, as a little bit of a pleaser, if I'm having a bad day, it's hard to remember I can have that bad day and it can be ugly and I can cry and like he's not going to go anywhere. It's okay to have a really bad day and have the other person be there and to just be a bitch or be mad or be sad, and like that's part of it. And it's a little bit hard for me still to like be fully, totally vulnerable and not think, oh my God, he's going to think I'm ugly when I'm crying. He's going to think I'm being a bitch. He's going to think I'm overreacting to something. You just kind of have to like let that go.
Actually, like my answer is like the non-emotional version of that, which would be like, for me it's, but that's, women are more emotional. And for me it's more like, I think one thing we agreed upon even before moving in just is that having an independent side of our lives is extremely important in keeping that up. And your independent side is usually revolved around writing and doing your meetings, and I have meetings for work, but I also, have regular basketball games that I like to play in, and that's important to me to like do those things. And I think had that been a difficult conversation, that probably been a difficult thing, but I think now it's just more about making sure that that you're getting to all your independent stuff just as much as I'm doing mine, but we're also making sure that we get to do things together. But
I think that's because we were together for a year and a half before we moved in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So critical. At a year and a half, it's like you just those conversations become easier.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Just in case you obviously fell in love with Jessie and Rob here, you can find Jessie. They're taken, but you can stalk Jessie at her blog, which is 20nothings.blogspot.com. And she also does this amazing monthly show at Bar Lubitsch called Sunday Night Sex Talks, which is fabulous and women only.
Girls only, sorry.
Ladies only. And then
girls
what is
only performing or girls only going?
Both.
Everything. Oh,
everything is just female.
It's a ladies' night.
I don't even know what's going on in it.
Yeah, he doesn't know. We don't talk about it.
And then what's your Twitter handle?
At 20nothings, 20nothings.
Great. So that's how you can find Jessie.
Rob has Twitter too.
Well, it's just our Luchow, and I don't blog or
don't
anything.
Don't put it down. He says really funny stuff, guys.
All right. Well, until next month, this is Marcos Loivanos.
And Erin LaRosa.
Sending you Joe Manganiello kisses.
And Ryan Gosling dreams. Yay!
Just for him. 'Cause you won't get him thinking and a praying, wishing and a hoping, just wishing.